We will discuss about application layer and the protocols which are coming in the application layer. So in the application layer, so here the application protocols define how the application processes running on different end system pass messages to each other. In particular, the application layer defines the following. Okay, so they define the types of messages, means what type of messages exchange between the applications, so whether it is a request, it is a response message, what is the message syntax, okay, so what are all the fields in the messages, how the fields are defined, okay, and what are all the message semantics, okay, so the meaning of the information that the field is supposed to contain, and the rules for determining when and how process send and respond to messages. Okay, so these are all the things, miss in general the application protocol define how application process running on different end system pass messages to each other. Okay, so before going to different types of application layer protocols, so see what are all the transport services needed by applications. Okay, so see some applications are okay with the data loss, a little bit of data loss. Some application requires high throughput. Some applications are very some applications are real time, some applications can tolerate delay, so some applications requires security. So see so coming to data loss, okay, so some applications like audio, it can tolerate some data, okay, so not too much, okay, and but other applications, example file transfer, required 100% reliable, means they don't they are intolerant to data loss. Okay, so they should not be no data loss when you are transferring a file, right? Okay, so then throughput, okay, some applications require minimum amount of throughput, okay, so whereas other applications make use whatever throughput they get, means they are called as elastic apps. Elastic apps means even if the throughput is less, it means there can be some data loss. Okay, so if one or two packets lost, it's okay with them. Okay, so they are called as elastic apps. Okay, so next is timing. Okay, so some applications like telephone, interactive games, they require low delay. Okay, so sometimes real-time games, okay, so they does not tolerate the delays. Okay, and some accuracies, example bank transactions, all they require encryption, data integrity. Okay, so these are all the various services needed by the applications. Okay, so in network applications. So next we will see, so each applications we should use either TCP, each of the application. Okay, so after the application we have this transport layer. So when the application passes messages to transport layer, so we have main two protocols here, right? So TCP and UDP. So each application, either they should any one of, means at least one of this. Okay, so either TCP, okay, so or UDP. Okay, so they should use. Okay, so we have this SMTP, is a simple mail transfer protocol. Okay, so which is used for email. Okay, so this SMTP, and the application is the email. See, application is different, protocol is by using this application layer protocol you are going to develop the application. So remember this. So we will be discussing again at the end of these applications. Okay, so we have this email which uses SMTP protocol, and it uses the underlying protocol TCP. Means to carry the email, okay, so to develop an email application, it uses the application protocol SMTP, and below layer to transfer this this message applications, they use this TCP. So similarly, remote terminal access or nothing, means it uses telnet. Okay, and it also uses TCP. So HTTP also uses TCP, HTTP protocol, which is used to create web applications, and FTP protocol is used to develop file transfer applications, and it also uses TCP. So and streaming multimedia. Okay, so we have this RTP, real-time protocol. This protocol is used to develop streaming multimedia application, and it uses TCP or UDP. So we have this internet telephone, ISIP, RTP, so Skype, etc. So they use UDP. Okay, so we have also seen in the transport layer what are all the applications which use UDP, right? Okay, so yeah, so next we will move to the main protocol. You must see there are many protocols in applications, so we will discuss this protocol, that is the HTTP. Okay, so we will discuss this protocol, a web and HTTP. Okay, so HTTP is used to develop the web protocol is used to develop the for the web application. So this see web page, it consists of many objects. Okay, so it may consist an applet, audio file, an image, text, many objects is consist. So we call this as an objects. Okay, so HTML file, etc. Okay, it includes several referenced objects. Okay, so and each object is addressed by a URL. Okay, so this is, we already know this is the URL. So this is the object. Okay, so and referenced object, and this is the host name. Okay, so address. Okay, so web address. So coming particularly to the HTTP protocol. Okay, so this is also called as HTTP in full form. It is called as hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, so it is used for web it is a web application layer protocol used to develop used for the web applications, and it is based on client server model. We have browser. So browser, they in web applications clients, client is a browser. For example, your internet Internet Explorer, Google Chrome. Okay, so Firefox, so they are all browsers. They request, you type URL in that browser, so and you are requesting from some server files or something. Okay, so request. Okay, so and request and receives the and displays the web objects. Okay, and server, it sends objects in response to the request. So this is HTTP. You will have these two types of messages. HTTP, we have two type of messages: HTTP request and HTTP response. Okay, so you will request and the server will reply by giving back that requested object. Okay, so this is PC running Explorer. Okay, so it will send HTTP request and the server will send back the HTTP response, which happens in this web applications. Okay, and remember always that HTTP uses TCP. It means that client should initiate first. We know that in the TCP we have studied for what happens in the TCP. First there should be connection, send a request, first connection, how it will uses the 3 handshake protocol for the connection establishment. So what it is, it will send a request segment, and then you will get a reply segment, and then you will have a pure acknowledgement. Then the channel will be opened for message exchanges. Okay. So yeah, the client initiate the TCP connection by the to the server. Okay, so after the connection is established, HTTP messages, reply messages, request messages will be exchanged between the HTTP client and the HTTP server, nothing but the web server. Okay, so we have here browser here, okay, at the client side, and we have server where objects are stored. Okay, so request objects are stored. So we can call this as HTTP server, we can call this as an HTTP client. Okay, see, remember that another important thing we need to remember in HTTP is that HTTP is a stateless protocol. Okay, so what do you mean by that stateless protocol? It means that the server maintains no information about the fast client request. Okay, so the server doesn't store about the whatever that the client has asked in the past. Okay, so there is no memory. Okay, so that's why it is called the stateless protocol. Okay, so now there are two types of HTTP connections. Okay, so one is non-persistence HTTP, another one is persistence HTTP. So what do you mean by non-persistence HTTP? So so for every object in the HTML pages, to get every object, okay, so it is, so at most one object is sent over only one TCP. It means suppose I have 10 pictures. okay, or 10 jpeg for each object. So and it means that we have 10 objects, okay. So for each objects we require to open it separate TCP connections, and again we will get, and again we have to open for close, again we have to open another TCP connection to get another image. So for at most one object is sent over one TCP connection, okay. So but whereas persistent HTTP, so multiple objects can be sent over single TCP connection. Means once you open the TCP connection, you can exchange all these 10 images together. 10 images without, okay. So and after that, after all the 10, getting the 10, you can close the connection. It means that multiple objects can be sent over single TCP, whereas here each object, then you require each for each object you have to open it each TCP connection, okay. So this is the difference between non-persistent and persistent HTTP. So example, you consider that you type client enters this URL, okay, some URL, and it contains some references to 10 JPG images. Just whenever you open this home index, okay, so it consists mainly it consists 10, suppose it can consist 10 JPG images, or it can consist 5 to whatever it may be, okay. So now first I already told you it uses TCP HTTP, so TCP connection should be set up, okay. So HTTP client initiate TCP connection, okay, and HTTP server, okay, so it was wait, okay, so it will send a TCP connection request, okay. So and the port number usually for the HTTP is 80, okay, and this HTTP accepts the connection and it notify that, okay, so now that, okay, so you can send the data whatever, you can request whatever you want. It means now the three-way handshake is over for the HTTP connection, okay. Now HTTP request, okay, so it will send HTTP request message, okay. So I want in that request message, so this URL will this will be contained, okay. So containing that URL into the TCP connection socket messages indicates that the client wants this object. Okay, the client will send a HTTP request message which has this URL which requests that I want this home index object. Okay, I want to open this page. Okay, so or it requests for this page. Okay, so now HTTP server receives the request. Okay, it forms a response, HTTP response message. Okay, in that message it will send this. Okay, so index, and you are able to